story based on my toys. My toys are plastic. There are no humans in this story. This is Joseph Conrad in space. This is dimension 0.9. There are Kordakians, a crumbled empire, now stuck between two great warring empires, the bank and the crown. There are corporate giants. They take drugs that make them 5 feet taller than the average person or thing that can't afford drugs. There is a need for fuel. There are hearts of darkness. There are monsters. One of the corporate giants decided to pursue the myth of the Zeno king or spawner, Enna. She was the youngest of the giants with wild ambitions. After talking to a very intoxicated geologist under her employ at Jouster Corporation on the Orphan Moon Mine, she had become obsessed with the idea of a Zeno king. Orphan and its 3 moons sit on a border between Crown Holdings and Kordakian space. At the beginning of the Civil War, the corporate giant seized all Orphan and declared it a neutral zone, knowing full well its Zeno or potential. The moons officially lay in Kordakian jurisdiction, but the Kordakian Senate had little sway over the giants. They found themselves in custodial role of a hostile moon due to the impenetrable caves of dangerous species. Without the resources to mount mining operations on their own, they were relegated to only 10% of all mine profits. With Jouster Corp's purchase, Kordakian became a security detail. The Lachtan. The dreaded Kordakian commando unit of the Elysian army was garrisoned at the mine. No one dared venture more than a kilometer beyond the wire. The Lachtan elites felt slated by such an ignoble detail. But that changed the day Officer Ditho showed up. Ditho had a dossier pack under her arm, direct from Kordakian halls. She spoke only to the first responsive. Within a week, the Violetian censor guide arrived, and ancient orphan natives thought to be related to the Zenos. 2 days later, they were beyond the wire, on one of the most dangerous moons ever known to Kordakia. Far above the Lachtan pay grade, the Kordakian dossier ordered Ditho to find a Zeno king. No sentient had ever ventured beyond the mines, certainly not since the feed. The feed. When the Zenos nearly wiped out all sentience in the solar system 500 years prior. If Ditho failed, she knew there would be a team of Sangricians or even Martillians to finish the mission. Recovering her corpse would be low on the agenda. Ditho was the type of official who could change a conversation to her favor without saying a word. If she hadn't been an orphan and entered at the lowest rank, she would easily be a general by now. The fact that she made official was quite a feat. She had commanded an army, an armored swarm in the Halath Sand War. She led several commando missions against surviving Halath strongholds, always willing to use brutality to her advantage. This brought them to the attention of the Hall, the Tusk. If by some miracle she completed the Zeno mission, she would be promoted to high official, one step away from commanding an army of her own. This, from here on in, is Ditho's journal. Day 1. It is not lost on me that my name, my only possession from birth, is etymologically close to this moon. I could have come from such a hell and simply been named for my departure point, and then be misspelled. Useless conjecture. I am here for one reason, a hunt of sorts. I am a hunter of sentience. I have been commanded to hunt monsters. Day 2. This mine is a prison. The oldest standing army in the solar system would submit to being mere vassals for something as undignified as joust a corp is beyond my pay. I met with my lieutenants for the mission, the locked-on commando chief, a professional cooking his departure in what seems to be a frivolity. I have served with a college biomech before. Talkative for my taste, but a capable soldier. The censor was an intellectual of sorts. Its conversation was informative, its talent for listening even greater. Day 3. Today we left the wire. We were now in the middle of danger. We camped on the plain. The censor brought us a fossilized Sahi, a spectacle to all. Apparently there are many. It is no wonder that mining operations are so intense here. If what we find increases production, it will change the galaxy, I imagine. But for all I know, we are on the hunt for a mere trophy. Something a giant or a magistrate can hang on the wall. Footnote. The Sahi are a massive prehistoric mushroom capable of interplanetary pollination. The reason why many planets became habitable over billions of years. The reason interplanetary travel became possible in dimension 0.9. In the last 2,000 years, the propulsive properties of the Sahi were harnessed. Around 700 sentients discovered Xenos feeding on smaller cultivated Sahi, processing the propulsive gas in their bloodstream, creating a propulsive fuel 10 times more powerful. Day 4. Day 4. We led the locked-in squad on a raid of the hunter camp. This camp had been pre-sighted and we were well briefed. We took 3 casualties and lost 1 zip, a hover gun bite nonetheless. The Chanti, which are pink lizards, they're primitive but vicious, and we were forced to liquidate them all. The camp bosses were sent back to the mine, orphan criminals gone native, I suppose. 4 bosses managed to escape. 1 bull and a moon native remained with us. The natives to Tuck. I'd never met one before. A bug-like sentient. Apparently they are great yarn spinners, but only in truths. It has proved quite useful, as long as the reputation is true. According to the Tuck, there is indeed a beast. Neither king nor queen, unbeknownst to imperial science. Xenos have no gender, but can spawn. Not only is there a beast, but each generation of Xenos produces a larger Xeno that produces a Xeno that can speak. This all seems fanciful. The Tuck spoke in folklore of ancient orphan hunters, humanoid quadrupeds that spoke to the beast child. I feel a fool for being sent to hear such stories, but I would be a greater fool to ignore them. 5. The tuck will lead us to the mountain of Sahi fossils. Apparently there is an entrance to the Achtak, the underworld. The endless caves below the surface. According to the tuck, living Zenos still roam here. Day 6. We camped on the plateau and lost another zip pilot to a terrible vegetation beast. We have lost 4 fighters so far and only established our base camp. Tomorrow, into the tunnel. Day 7. Today we enter the undermoon. First night in the cave proved uneventful. Day 8. Within the cavern we came across remaining hunter bosses. Evidently Hunter was with a mission on Oma. Evidently Hunter was a misnomer, for they scavenged for Zeno rings. They were in a state of panic, but not on account of us, but the proximity to a Zeno. They confirmed the Tucksmith that there is indeed a greater beast protected by Zeno queens. There had to be only one reason we were still alive. It was because the sensor and the lockdown commando shared Zeno DNA, and the commando sent may confuse the beasts. They had no means of off-road transport. They were scared. I saw no need to liquidate. Day 9. We retreated to the high ground of the cavern. An additional biomech grain rider, an additional biomech bird rider, 2 zips and 5 commandos arrived this morning. Just as we entered the base of the cavern, the Zenos attacked. We lost 3 zips and their pilots. The Zenos go for the flash machines first. The sensor killed the Zeno after a tussle. Accordeon first, I will wager. 4 Zenos lay dead to our 3. I am determined to press on. Contact, our biomech squad leader, said he saw a blue Zeno and fired on it. I ran. But could this be our beast? Day 10. Deeper down. We lost 2 more commandos today. In a narrow pass, the blue Zeno was spotted again making camp. We will continue the mission. Day 11. The remainder of the expedition was lost today. Attacked by 10 or more Zenos. Kalhak was torn from his biomech and devoured. I survived only by an act of cowardice. Day 12. Wandering the massive caverns, looking for a way out. Alone. Disoriented, but alive. Day 14. I found a liquid I can convert to consume. I will survive. If I can reach the first cavern, I will make it the rear guard. 4 Zeno corpses are enough to fuel defeat. That should be some consolation. Day 15. I fear I am lost. Then follow. 16. 17. Day 18, lost in the massive cave tunnel. The blue beast appeared ahead of me and I finished my mission in depth, so be it. I will pursue it until it consumes me. At least with this sighting I regain my purpose. Day 19, I follow and it lets me follow. It waits and continues, always 100 meters ahead. At times it looks back, it has a terrible face. At times it looks back and has a terrible face. Day 20, I see nothing and my life is dying. The blue Zeno radiates with faint glow. We are constantly walking downhill. It is hot, then very cold, then hotter than before. 21, 22, the Zeno stop. into a long pour of emotions beat apart. I climbed to a small perch in this vast maze of cavern. Before me sat the most curious being, so pale it seemed to glow. It resembled a Zeno more than the last century had. Its face both horrific and childlike. Though almost twice my height, it seemed diminutive. Then to my shock, as if shock was still possible, it spoke. This was no beast. This too was a sentient. I thought for a moment it was the spawner itself. Its language was unknown to me, but as with any stranger, we communicated through gestures and grunts. It was not the spawner, but the voice. Each spawner, you see, had a voice, one for every generation, and it told me to sleep. It promised when I woke, I would meet the spawner. Day 27. I have spoken to the lead Zeno. I have spoken to its voice. I will repeat its words until I reach home, until I reach Kodakian line. Schlagzeug, ascendo, yakala. Schlagzeug, ascendo, yakala. I save my strength for now walking. I must reach the cavern. Day 32. Heading back up the tunnels, I passed our first battle site. The Zeno corpses are gone. My comrades gone. Only the carcasses of our machine. Day 33. Day 34. I have reached the top of the cavern. The rear guard has been slaughtered. It's clear I've been allowed to live. It has been the case since the second attack. I am nothing more than a messenger. Day 36. I have reached the surface. I am alive. The base camp team recovered me from the lip of the cave. From their faces, it's clear I am not the same being they saw enter. I'm on a hop ship away from this hard road. I am alive. Day 80. Physically back in my quarters in Kodakia, I remain in the cave. My mind will never return. I had many debriefings. I have spoken to the high officials and the magistrates in the hall. I dutifully convey the spawner's message in each interview. Schlagzeug, ascendo, yakala. Schlagzeug, ascendo, yakala. Schlagzeug, ascendo, yakala. We are awake. We are many. And you will die. Chapter 2. Ever scroll through your feed and see some horrific, catastrophic event? But it's happening in a place so remote to people so distant you don't even really react. You feel you should, but instead you keep scrolling. Well, this in Dimension 09 is one of those events. What was about to happen in the hearts of many Kordakians. What was about to happen would break the hearts of many Kordakians, bottom out Orphan's economy, but be a mere blip in the cycle of millions of crown subjects and bank clients wrapped in a grind of a 200-year-old war. But that was what was about to happen, and it would change their war too. In fact, it would change the galaxy. The moon. One of so many it didn't have a name, save Orphan Moon 2, or is it one nobody even remembers? Everyone fucks it up, even on Orphan. But on the moon, one settler had escaped a Xeno attack on the southern pole. A hunter well versed in the tunnels, he'd made it to the Kordakian territory just 5 days away. It would have taken weeks on the surface. He was terror and thirst-stricken when Kordakian scouts picked him up on the plains just 10 clicks from the mine. When they brought him to command, he was babbling, oscillating between commands and pleas. We gotta go, we gotta go, we gotta go, we gotta go, we gotta run! And then, take me with you. Wait, where are you heavy ships? Take me with you. Stunned, he looked around at the mighty Kordakian division with the spider tanks, the biomechs, the artillery tracks, the speeders, the lines and lines and lines of ready, regal troops. Wide-eyed, he said, "Is that all you got?" In the middle of the settler's interrogation, there was suddenly a terrible rumbling. Baffled, the scouts reported a stampede and headed towards the Kordakian perimeter. A stampede of what? The commander demanded. Of everything, the scout reported. Whatever could run or fly seemed to be headed towards the Kordakian lines. Kordakian guns and rifles made quick work of the animals, and soon there was a wall of animals before the troops. This sudden stampede and subsequent massacre was obviously unnerving. Rumors spread in milliseconds through the ranks. The mountain stopped their work to witness the spectacle across the ravine. Work had never stopped at Joshua before, not even during the unfortunate subterranean accidents of the weeks prior. Everyone down to the droids knew this was different. After the stampede, there was an unintentional anticipatory silence. Even the mind mech stopped. Everything stopped save the mind bar, but the ceaseless commerce of drinks over the counter and dark drop under was brutally interrupted. There was a distant boom, followed by a violent tremor, and then a greater boom. When all looked up, There was a massive cloud of fine moon soil descending from the white sky, creating a smoke screen across the plain. The dust settled and new shapes appeared in the cloud. At the mine, Foreman Chutang headed straight for the control tower. Mine bosses Tulak and Kahun were busy burning files. Boss, did you hear that?
Yeah, it's time to go.
What was it?
I got no idea, kid, but I worked in enough dust to know when it's time to cut out.
Right, I'll initiate evacuation procedures.
Son, Joustra policy from board to the bunker cleans routines. It's every sentient for itself. Do you have any explanation as to why this wouldn't apply now?
No, boss.
Good, thank you.
In the distance, the plain, no longer green nor flat, but full of black-gray bumps stretching to the horizon, looming above them, a ghostly bulb. This shift in landscape could not be mineral. The black-gray matter seemed to wiggle or shudder like thermals, but this was no hot moon. Top Office Commander Shakshi dialed in his far vision. These were not stones, these were beasts. They looked like no Zeno he'd seen in the briefs or in reference logs, but it was clear that they had come from inside the moon. It was clear that they were many, they were organized. No, this was an army. The Kodakian division had been in parade formation all morning. In face of this new threat, they remained stoically still. They waited for the top office to give the signal. Top office had to communicate to the hall, raised his hand to his temple, transmitting the go sign to the division. All troops immediately to stations. Chaos ensued as miners scrambled to board anything off moon while troops took up positions. The battle was on. A beast army engineered by beasts, the likes of which the galaxy had never seen. Yes, the spawner voice had said, "We are awake, we are many, and you will die." The plane, pre-sighted, lit up in blue fire. All guns and rockets focused on the monsters in the distance. And when the smoke cleared, the numbers had not diminished, and the beasts were speeding towards Kordakian lines. The rumble shook infantry boots, closer now, but still in the distance. A bulb above the creatures took shape. This was a Zeno spider, something Kordakians knew only from myth. An ancient engineer, the creature that built the bugs, were doomed to be their demise. Oh, this catastrophe was too great to keep a lid on. Kordakian comm traffic was exceeding a secure bandwidth, and the TOC was calling the hall directly, informing the entire division was about to be compromised. Where were the gunships? Mine bosses Tulak and Kahan made no effort to contact the superior in Port Ortholan. Negeto, the Josta regional executive, had been under the bank authority. Like Tulak and Kahan, he also was corrupt, effectively a double agent for the bank. They kept him in the dark about the events around the mine. The bank's hubris was to trust him. This crisis was uncontainable. It was a matter of hours before the bank would realize they were being outmaneuvered in a quest for Zeno ore. Enna, the corporate giant in charge of Joustra, had flown to Kordakia to intimidate general staff and to hold our mind at all costs. She was now witnessing her investment disintegrate firsthand. Oh, pawns like Negeta, Tulak, and Khan, well, they had to disappear fast. It's one thing to run from a Xenobiobot army. It is another entirely different thing to run from the bank and corporate giants. In the face of these imperial behemoths, the only thing to do is run, hide, and keep running. On the moon, the creatures crashed over the wall of dead animals and straight into the Kordakian division lines. Small arms fire had no effect. The beasts had pincers, but when they were out of range, they simply spit a substance that had the impact of a 50 caliber round. They sliced the Kordakian battalion to pieces in seconds. Only spider nuts and spider snakes seemed to have an effect, but even these could only take one at a time. Within minutes, these Xenobiobots were deep in the perimeter, wreaking havoc in the division. Kordakian official Shaxi called, "Fire on all cars! Fire on all cars!" This was a free-for-all. Bill Organs up to save yourself. Basic commanders to save his comrade. Kill everything just to save the mind and save the mortal orphan of Kordakia. Just save the smoking, just keep shooting. The biobots were intelligent. Within moments they discerned the small arms fire was negligible. They went for the heavy armor. Kordakians put up a valiant defense. One tanker managed to kill a beast with small arms at point-blank range. When it was his last glory, the Zenos fire engineers stayed cautiously at the front line of fire. They see, weighted down these Zenos by their bulbous heads, as if top heavy from drink. Countdown to death, Lord. 1. By the time Kordakian gunships could engage, the Zenos were deep within Kordakian lines. The ships went for the Zeno reserves on the Seit Plateau. The first gunship made a pass with its rotary gun with little effect. On the second pass, a Zeno engineer essentially shot down with a goblet spit. The crew could not be rescued. 2. The mine itself jutted out of an adjacent plateau and faced another. Top official Shi ordered a battalion to take up positions on that mine. Third official Tiem placed one flock in the primary landing dock, second flock on a massive drill support, third on a collection structure, and fourth flock in reserve at the mine entrance. This textbook tactical deployment would prove to be fruitless when the biobots hopped within the perimeter, causing immediate havoc. This very last miners tried to get safely before blocking the entrance in the mine complex, cutting off the majority of the second hive. 3. On the primary Seit Plateau, the biobots were well within the front lines, threatening Xi's command. The Hall had sent forward Executive Combat Office Kordakian assault cruiser. The Combat Office determined it was time to pull out. In odd hierarchical tradition, Xiaxi was to be extracted before his division. It was the duty of the second official to be the last pair of hooves on the ground. First artillery official Gabriel saluted Xiaxi adieu. The mighty Kordakian regal orange armor would die on the moon. Xiaxi's dropped ship with a command cruiser saluted him and coordinated the extraction of the remnants of his swarm. 4. Kordakian armor and artillery seemed to be the only weapon keeping these biobots at bay. They kept up at a steady rate of fire at point-blank range. The spider engineers continued to hide out of the line. About 5 kilometers behind Zeno lines, the Kordakian gunship caught a spider in the open. Small ordnance were useless, but a lucky shot with a quad rocket unleashed a massive explosion, taking out a good chunk of the reserves. 5. This slight setback bought the Kordakians some time. What was left of the division pulled back behind the mine's perimeter wall. All surviving troops waited for a Kordakian assault cruiser to drop in and pull them out. The mine perimeter was valiantly defended by the same commandos that had been on Orthan's exhibition and to find the Zenos the first time. Outside the gates, a few biomechs and artillery gunners prepared to make the ultimate sacrifice for their comrades. Oh, if this were a war. Oh, if this were an actual war. If this were a war, then names would go up in the great caverns of the hall. But this wasn't even a police action. This was a security job. The fact that mighty Kordakians had been reduced to corporate mercenaries was unmentionable to the historians of Kordakia. The great historians of Kordakia. 6.0. As the The assault cruiser loaded the first half of the second half of the third drive of the third high, led by the third official Tien. They fought off the biobots within the central mine complex. He had no time to look up as the cruiser flew to safety above. The swarm had numbered 10,000 hoods. Only a few hundred would escape with their lives. Though this debacle would never be recognized as an action, certain protocols remain. In defeat, the second official must die on the field. The official bid farewell and verified the transfers of honors to his family. 6.1 Spider Tank Commander Sergeant Aku knew he was dead. He had to volunteer and stay with the rest of the armored flock. But once the flock was out of ammo, he knew he was dead, but he ran anyway. As the last artillery gun was overtaking the major planway adjacent to the mine, the Spider emerged from the Sahib fossil with Kordakian heavy ordnance and neutralized the surviving gunship, protecting and evacuating cruiser. The Spider engineer made his move. 7. The Spider hopped onto the central complex. This massive Zeno being on top of all this sentient machinery. Official Tim's troops were already overwhelmed as the massive engineer beast lumbered slowly under the drill structure of the primary shaft. Official Tim looked with horror